Once Human is getting some massive new features, which do include some future and present additions to the game. There's a brand new battle pass that we'll go over and a teaser for that. Some things that will help the economy, vending machines, and deviations. Or that also leads us onto the new scenario that we talked about in the last video, where we get a few additional details with that test as well as the mobile. We got a ton to talk about. What's up world, it's Utopia back in with another video. Today we're checking out all things Once Human. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Let's get into the new features. And there is a bunch of brand new features coming to the game in the next couple of days as well as several weeks. So first up here is the massive one that has been announced, which is the addition of permanent servers. Those will be launched on March 13th. This has probably been one of the most highly requested features. People have wanted those permanent servers, and they actually have quite the intuitive system here to actually get that in place. So they mentioned that following the update, all servers except private servers, again, those are going to be there too. We will eventually be getting the launch of private servers, but that is obviously different than that. This is the permanent servers. However, they do mention here that all servers will be automatically converted into permanent servers after closing. So when you do reach phase 6, some servers phase 4, depending on how short the scenario is. They said the conversion process will take about 2 hours. During that time, you cannot play on it, and that processing time may vary. But this conversion process will retain all data of all characters on the server, including their levels, materials, deviations with their territories, and social relationships. And so you could just continue playing on whatever server you like. Now there is a discrepancy there. If you have not logged into your character for an extended period of time, approximately 30 days, they will not be retained on the permanent server. Instead, they will enter the server settlement and sign-up process will begin by default. As they do mention here, this will prevent inactive players from tying up server resources, as well as situations or scenarios with too few players. Now, if a character does transfer to a permanent server or is on the permanent server after it has been launched, and they are inactive for an extended period of time, 30 days, they will also be removed. However, they can sign up for a new scenario to continue playing. So again, if you're inactive for 30 days prior to the server launching or after the permanent server section of it, you will actually be removed from that and set into the settlement, or more than likely the Eternal Land. Now, because there is the new Visional Wheel features, scenarios that are permanent will come either with or without them. If a scenario doesn't have a Visional Wheel effect to it, it will not be affected by the Visional Wheel at all. So all the servers that currently do not have any Visional Wheel effect or not in the lunar or the lunar scenario, those will still be just a regular permanent server with no lunar scenario or with no lunar events. Now, if you are in a lunar scenario and that does become permanent, that will be affected by future Visional Wheels. So you won't just be able to continue playing the lunar event. Eventually that will change over time. Now they do mention here that they might do server merges over time, where they might be converted into separate worlds on the same permanent server, and that players from these servers can then visit each other by switching worlds. Now, if you are a person that does like to be inactive for a long time, don't fret, as they say and they mention here that they're going to be doing a permanent upgrade in Q2 2025. So as a part of this upgrade, the login requirement for active player status will be relaxed from 30 days to a much longer period. And an example here might be up to 180 days, allowing returning players to join those permanent servers. This is quite substantial. It really is cool that they are bringing out permanent servers. I do know a lot of people weren't jumping into the game because of that. Now there is that there. Although I will always mention, with most MMOs, the permanent servers are never usually the ones that are most active. Diablo 4 is a good example, or even World of Warcraft Classic. Usually the fresh servers, as well as like New World fresh servers, are what typically bring players back. But I am glad that they do have the option there overall. But I wouldn't be surprised if these permanent servers do get merged quite often. Although again, I am glad they're bringing the feature out. Next up here, we have some additional features, not just with the permanent servers. This one is actually dropping this week after February 26th, and that is that you can finally hide your backpack. This was a long-awaited feature that you can hide your cradle. That is now finally here. But the devs did not stop there. You can also hide your back weapon, your headwear, and more, giving you ways to customize your character even more so. Now again, normally you can hide certain gear, usually your headpiece if you head to the gear. However, this one is going to be under the display settings, where there will be all new options to explore there. And again, they do show some examples here of hiding your backpack as well as your weapons. But even more so, with this week's update, you'll finally also be able to trade deviations. It does seem like this is exclusive to the vending machines, but you will be able to sell your deviations in the vending machines. So if you do have any extras left over, you can finally place those in there. Really nice to have overall, especially since sometimes you get so many, and they can accumulate your backpack quite fast, and it can even get full. So I'm glad they are adding some more expansion there for the economy. And speaking with this week's update, of course, we did have the Battle Pass ending, so they are giving some new teasers for the Battle Pass items here. Now, the keywords they're going for are battlefields, journalists, apocalypse, and investigation. So it looks like they are going into the more gritty style of things. I think people will be very pleased and very happy with this new outlook, at least for some of the customizations that people wanted some more grounded military style. Does seem like they are leaning into that overall. So it is nice to see that they're finally appealing to another audience there for the cosmetics. I'll leave a link to it down below if you want to check out the new Battle Pass teaser, just in case you want to check it out and just kind of scan for yourself. Moving on though, we do have those brand new tests. Now this one in particular does seem like it's exclusive to China. Typically, they have been getting the test runs first. They've also had the game first before any other region, and they have been ahead of us when the scenarios do come out. Although I do think we're about even paced now with them. They did, however, get to test Way of Winter first, and just like this, they are able to test the new Seeds of Trouble or Seeds of Chaos, which is that brand new scenario that we did talk about in my last video. Again, in order to sign up for this, you did need a Chinese NetEase account. You also had to be signed up with multiple things like the QQ and a WeChat. There was a lot of things there. They had a lot of lockdown with this, so it is exclusive to that region. However, they do have a few things here, like you can check if you did get into Qualify, so you can check that if you can test out this new scenario. And they do mention here that qualified players can directly download the exclusive package for the co-research server to start the experience. So they are going to be starting to test that tomorrow on the 26th. They do mention here though that if you are in this qualification, that you can actually invite your friends to it. Really hope they eventually do bring this to other regions. That'd be really cool for us to be able to test this out. It would be nice to have a PTR in the other regions. Although this does happen with a lot of games. Typically, they have the previews and the test events around NA in Europe. So even though they're testing it in their home region, it does kind of make sense. Now, it's going to be starting on February 26th at 1600. That's around 4 p.m., but that is their time zone. So that is kind of starting here quite soon compared to NA, as they are technically a day ahead of us, or around a day ahead of us. Now, they do mention that the first round is going to be opening from February 26th until March 11th. So they will have quite a long time to test this and get all the bug fixes and things like that done. They're also going to be doing a second round opening time, but that is to be determined. Again, I really do hope they bring this to the NA region or other regions in general. Don't know if that's going to be the case. More than likely, it probably won't be. Of course, they do mention that even though people are going to be able to test this out, they're going to wipe everyone's account after the test is done. So you're not going to be able to keep anything. This is only for a PTR character. Although they are getting some free rewards here, you can choose one of the following items. So they do get some pretty cool exclusive rewards here for them. They're also giving some additional items here for feedback, which it looks like they received some Stardust Source. And also here it says 7-day World Premium Merchandise. Not exactly sure what that entails, more than likely just a toy in-game. Last appeared, a lot of people really wanted a new PVE script or scenario. They do mention here at the very end that the PVE script / scenario is being worked on at full capacity. So that one is also being developed and worked on alongside this. So again, don't fret there. Eventually the PVE scenario will come out as well, as they are working on that now and have all the teams dedicated to that working at full capacity. We also, of course, do have the mobile test. That is a cross-platform test. They have also released the minimum or mobile device system requirements here. I've gone over these before. They haven't changed from the last test, so it seems like you will need an XS or an iPhone XS to at least participate, and a Snapdragon 845, as well as a few other CPUs here for the Android devices. And as they do mention here, there's going to be 3 days until that test does begin, which it is around 2 days now, February 27th at 7 p.m. PST. So nighttime then, but depending on when you're watching this video, it might be around 2 days. Overall, that should about cover for today's video. If you like, subscribe, and until the next one. Deuce!